very much. Fortunately enough, in terms of an oil-free online opportunity, which the Queen's University is offering. And a brief about Queen's University. Queen's University themselves happens to be the best university in Canada and the fifth in the whole world according to the Times High Impact Ranking, which was being graded in 2021. In 2022, they still maintain being the best university in Canada and the seventh globally. Talking about millions of universities in the whole world, if you have to talk about those who are making an impact, this is a university which has been graded to be the fifth best in 2021 and the seventh best in 2022. All the universities in the whole world. So we are grateful for this opportunity. I made a small research in terms of talking to people about how much this opportunity would have cost. Initially, Greg has told us that it's costing Queen's University millions of dollars, but I wanted to know in terms of the facts, in terms of the practical entrepreneurship program you're going to provide. And in terms of the research being made, I was pretty much informed. It would have cost a single person about 54,000 Canadian dollars because it's the same content which you use at the master's level. We are getting this opportunity for free, which is not costing Ghanaians even a penny. We are much grateful for this opportunity. It is nothing but the best which you are going to offer us. And we know it being a practical entrepreneurship and innovation training. Differently, my students will be going through very well and have the best of this training from you. Thank you very much. We'll be joining with the lecture series very soon as you'll be offering us. And from God willing tomorrow to they will be beginning to have access to this content. Whoever who has been able to generate the net ID and being able to log in successfully can have this content to go through. And one even fortunate aspect is it's been virtual. The program itself is hybrid. If I say hybrid, meaning it's going to be a combination of a virtual side and the in-person. For the virtual side, we are going to take through, we are going to take it on Queen's University website. Aside that too, I think initially there is even an app which Queen's University have. We will be introducing them to for them to get it downloaded, so that even in the comfort of their home, they could be using their smartphones to go through with their laptops. In terms of its flexibility, it's been assured that they can even at any time. And what your recorded lecture series as well is even going to help a lot. It's really going to help a lot for them to be able to have the best of this training. We are very grateful, the program and outreach manager from Queen's University, for joining us and giving us details about this opportunity. We have some guests been joining us. Prof. Stanley Moffat has joined us. Prof, you have been recognized. You are welcome for joining us today too. He happens to be the president for the Data Link Institute in Tema. Prof, you are welcome. We also have great people also joining us, and they will be introduced along the way. A manager from Data Bank has joined us. For example, we are also being recognized. So we will be introducing them as they will be joining in. We have the trust fund manager from Young Good Ashanti, Mr. Francis, also joining in. Francis, you're also been recognized. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so the next to be introduced is my great partner, who I have been working this very thin work. This wouldn't have been possible without his support. And yesterday I was sharing with you, I've never seen someone who have a very great drive for change like him. We talk once every single day, and there has been a whole lot of planning which has gone through this for the past 2 years. We started this way back in 2017 after the International Symposium was being organized with Professor Emeritus Stephen Ade, the Council of State member, Honorable Professor Margaret Amoakohene, to name a few. Based on the resolution, we decided to have this entrepreneurship program. And ever since, this was being found that the way to address the youth unemployment situation is through entrepreneurship. There has been a series of conversations with this great man, and he happens to be my buddy. We started as partners, but we are now brothers. I'm very honored to introduce him today, for him also to take us through the program. He will be leading the mentorship session. He has an organization he works with, Smith Business School, a department under Queen's University. as their programs manager, also leading a social change over there. And in terms of his program as well, he also has an NGO which he has founded himself, which is called the Leadogo Incorporated, a network of business experts in Canada and globally as well, which we have a whole lot of experts on board to assist with the mentorship. So he having over 20 years experience in mentorship. I'm very much honored to introduce to you Matt Hawksley. Matt Hawksley, the floor is open for you to take us through the mentorship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That was a heck of an introduction, Kingsley. I appreciate that. I don't know if it was all true, although he does call me at least once a day. We talk on WhatsApp. It's usually my first call in the morning. So that is definitely the true part of the conversation there. But, no, it's been a pleasure. I'm really excited to talk through a little bit more on the specifics of the program. And just a couple things. One, I wanted to say a big thank you from my team too at Leadogo, Anthony and Pollock, who've done a great job in helping to really shape this, to build this up and actually lay out the calendar, the details, work with the different coaches, get things set up, do the interviews, all of those things that sometimes we take for granted. I just wanted to give a special shout out and a thank you for, in particular, those two who've done a lot and great work for that. And one, I'm going to actually go back to what Chloe said about the network, because I myself, Kingsley mentioned, I actually have a master's from Queen's University and been a part of a lot of the programs that the Innovation Center has offered. And truly the network, the people that you come into contact with are going to be one of the most valuable things that you can actually hope to gain from this program. They're going to walk you through a whole lot of information, a lot of training, a lot of content, and you're going to be pushing yourself, kind of what Dr. Roland Roberts saying before too. You got to get ready to run. But really, it's the people that you're going to meet along this journey, the things that they can help you with, the actual camaraderie, as well as then people sometimes putting their arm around you, but then also kind of holding you up when you need that as well, that support. It's going to be this collaborative kind of program that is going to help you move things forward, whether it's in your business that you're going to start here, whether it's in a job that you find. All these different things will come together, but it's the people, it's the human connection that's really going to be the key driver. So I can't say that enough. Kingsley mentioned a little bit about kind of what I do. I'm in social impact space. I've also I do coaching and launched a business, Leadogo, which is really kind of bringing the best about peer learning and harnessing a lot of that wisdom to then give back to others. And it's been a fun ride for me. As you mentioned, I had 20 plus years experience. I wasn't always sitting in the same kind of spot. I actually was in supply chain and logistics for 20 plus years, worked my way up kind of in a corporate type ladder structure. I wanted to do that, I guess, when I was coming out of undergraduate. I wanted to work my way up the ladder. I wanted to gain international experience, and I wanted to launch my own business and build it up. So those first 20 years I dedicated to really those first two. I did get to live abroad and live in Europe and travel all across the globe. And I was able to have some success. But I really was missing out on this purpose, missing out on really driving something of my own. And I think many of you out there might be feeling a similar thing where you want to create, you want to build. And some of you have already kind of moved the ball. Some of you are just getting started. But one of the key things is having that team, having that people, having the advisors, having the sounding boards that can help you along the way. Entrepreneurship, as was mentioned too, can be a lonely ride, but it doesn't have to be. So what we're going to be doing with Leadogo and partnering with all the different universities, in particular Queens too, is helping to build that bridge and to give that support along the way so that you do not have to feel alone, that you won't feel like you're one person in this whole cog trying to change the world. Because when we can all come together, we can all support each other, that's when we can really move the needle. That's when we can really change the world. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen, and I'm going to walk through a little bit about the program. And if there's any kind of questions and stuff, put them in the chat, Q&A. I might not be able to get to them exactly while I'm talking, but I will promise get back to everybody as soon as I can here. So. All right. So as we go through, there's going to be 3 phases of the program. Chloe mentioned roughly a little bit about this, but in the first part, it's kind of that building the foundation, an exploratory phase. And all 1,000 students that were admitted to this program will be engaged for this. It's going to be a 2-month duration, and you're going to go through that Bill Aulett entrepreneurship curriculum, which you'll have in the Queen's portal. So all of you should be having that and getting familiar a little bit with that part of it. We'll work with you and help you on the way. So don't feel like if you haven't started with either Slack or a few other things, we're going to get you started here. So also the connections we're building up in the Slack channel. For those, we've seen some of the people have been active, some not as much yet, but we're going to be having you broken down by program coaches as well, of which then each person would then have a specific group area so that you and then the coaches can chat, and then you can have one-to-one connections as well. The coaches will then be reaching out and be having a weekly session as well with the first group. In the beginning, we're going to be having around 30 coaches, each of which will have about 33 or so different students that we're going to be onboarding. So kind of if you think about it, starting in that explore phase, it's the macro, the higher level kind of scenario. Then there's going to be also some masterclass sessions. Chloe mentioned that there's going to be the lecture series as well. So we're going to give you the opportunity to participate in a lot of different learning engagements. Now, mind you, we know that you have busy schedules and everything too, but we want to provide the insights, the wisdom, and the access to that information. And again, we'll make it available to you so you can take advantage of that. And as was mentioned, that the submission of the business model canvas, that is that stage gate. That is the first determining factor of that part of it. So all the different students will need to conclude all of the different education material in the Queen's portal. We would need to have a submitted business model canvas, and then the coaches along the way would be working with you. But then from there, this is essentially, for those that don't know, kind of a business model canvas. It's a condensed business plan that would contain all these different elements that are going to be critical to you launching a business or driving business success. Many of you, some of these terms are not necessarily new or too foreign to you, but as you dig down deeper, these are all the key elements, the key blocks and the building blocks to driving a successful business. So what we're going to be doing along with the coaches and even with Queens too, what is then the best, what are the best business model campuses? What are the entrepreneurs, who are the entrepreneurs and the businesses that have the most potential for success? And then who are the people that are most committed to this program and to their business? Because what then ends up happening is we're going to move into an intermediate stage called Ignite. So from there, 200 students would be admitted. So the business model canvas, the commitment, the activity, the engagement, and then the validity of that business model canvas in the business would be determining factors that the coaches and some of the administrators would take into consideration to identify those 200. This stage also would last 2 months in duration. And then what you would get, those same 30 coaches would be reassigned as necessary based on subject matter expertise, based on relationships, and based on how we can optimally help each of the different entrepreneurs. So with that, you're going to have more of a smaller group coach setting each week, not that full 33. You're going to move that down to really in a smaller kind of group, 6, 7. And then the masterclass sessions continue, same with the lecture series. And then in this stage, what will happen is it's a pitch video. So you're going to be doing a pitch for your business. There's a lot of different styles, approaches. The coaches, some of the education material will help you get to that point. You're going to be doing a lot of practices along the way and really working through the fundamentals of your business and the business model. So we will then be starting to introduce you to more advisors, both some in Ghana that are actually successful businessmen and people there, as well as people across the globe. So to give you different insights. So for example, if something regards to marketing or operations or human resources, transportation, whatever the specifics that might be relevant to your business, we will begin to help to shape a lot more of what your business is. That would lead into then the launch stage. So after determining based on the pitch videos, we would then select the top 75 students to move on to this final stage. This stage is a bit longer. It's 4 months in duration. So these students would actually get some more one-to-one time, as well as then an even smaller group with maybe roughly 2 to 3 people in a group at times. So this was really focused on growth. We talked about growth mindset. We talked about building businesses and scaling. This is where we really spend a lot of time to move that forward, connect with more and more advisors or people that can help to drive it. Like I said, building that bridge, creating that network to help move it forward. It takes people, it takes resources, it takes access, no different than if it's me or if it's you. So what would happen here at the end of this is there is a pitch competition. There's going to be potential for getting into the DDQIC pitch competition. And then we will also, for E-Jobs4All, be running a pitch competition as well. So a little bit from a higher level, here's the timeline as far as when everything kind of happens. So again, starting now with January, we move through. The main focus is going to be this business model canvas submission. You're going to be taking the courses. You can potentially take some of the digital certificates and the ones that Chloe mentioned as well in design thinking and others. And then we'll continue to then start to shape and harness and build what it is into your business. The coaches will then work with you to fine tune that model and then answer any questions that you may have. Based on the top selections, we will take 200 to move on into that next round at the end of February into March. And then that focus is going to be a pitch video. So each of the different entrepreneurs, not solely, but they will be focused on really perfecting and harnessing a good pitch for their business. Also, we'll be working in challenging and really building up the actual parts of your business, the nuts and bolts. Because if it doesn't make sense, if those economics don't work, if the marketing side doesn't work, if the team is not the right fit, then at that point, that's what we're going to continue to talk and challenge and call out so that you can refine it and make it to the best of your ability. At the end of April, then there's a final 75 that are selected. They will then, in those final 4 months, get a lot of the training, a lot of the access and more with the advisors. There's potential pitch competitions with DDQIC. And then at the end, for ours in September, that's when the E-Jobs4All pitch competition will begin. And for those that are in there, there would be access to some investors. There'd be access to some potential funds. And we would then be continuing along the way, actually helping to market, introduce, and build up the brand of your business as well. So from the coaches, so as I mentioned, there's going to be roughly 30 that come through. We're going to be having weekly group sessions. People will be reaching out with specific times. We were going to be actually giving you all the different groupings, and then you're going to get the support along the way, answering some questions about the business model canvas, any kind of questions with regards to your business. So things of that nature will be in most coaching office hours. They'll be there on a specific time every week to help you along the way. There's going to be a lot of communication. We understand that. So in Slack, there'll be space for a chat as well directly with your coach. So each of the first group would be then together. And then at that point, that'll be kind of that one place that everything can kind of happen. A lot of the quick questions and things like that And then when you're having the weekly Zoom type of group session, from there, you'll be able to really start to move that ball forward. And they will help you along the way to basically refine and bring the best out in what you've got. The master classes. So what these are kind of mini workshops or sessions, sometimes an ask me anything type of scenario with an advisor or somebody that has a lot of subject matter expertise, or the group that's in this cohort. There's kind of Q&A, as we mentioned. We would actually allow you to provide the questions and then have a webinar similar to this, but just essentially asking your questions of that. If it's a smaller group, we would have more of an intimate setting in Zoom where we can see all the boxes and all the faces. But for some of them, to get to the biggest group available, we're going to be recording and then providing a lot of the Q&A sessions like that. So continue to stay advised on Slack with all the details in the calendar. We will provide all of the different details on the calendar here, but just as a heads up, we're going to be doing at least one masterclass a month. So you can see in the first block on the left, first one is actually coming up soon, next week. We'll provide more information in the link there. Then February 8th, there'll be one in March, April, May, June, and then July and August, as you see on the slide there. So we will send out and provide the link in Slack. And so you have all the information there so you can put it on your calendars. And then we'll also provide you with the contacts and then the subject matter so that you can definitely attend the ones that are most germane or relevant to your business. Now, I know along the way, we were making a cut from 1,000 to 200 to 75 based on certain parameters. All of the participants are able to attend the master classes as we move through this lecture series. So we will then make all of the different parts available. They will still, everyone can still be available in Slack and some of the different channels. And we will also midway through move you into a Leadogo peer learning platform where we're going to be bringing in a lot of other entrepreneurs as well. So we want you to continue on with your progress, continue on with your idea. You know, this is not one of those things where just because you don't get selected for something, the game ends. We want it to continue on. We want you to continue to build and then actually stay connected to those that are still in the program. So for a pitch competition, what we have, we're doing a little differently in a tournament style, actually. So there's going to be some funds that will be available and some other different investors along the way that we're going to be really judging and actually participating in some of the different engagements here. We start out with the 75 in September, and then there's going to be some prep weeks, and then we're going to almost in like a World Cup kind of format, tournament format. We'll have some head-to-head pitch video competitions, of which then the judges and the investors will be able to select who goes on to the next round. 64 are going to then proceed after much of the work. And then in October, we'll begin that next series of head-to-head competitions that will then lead to the final 16. And then from there, it will go down. We will have actually a pretty big production and event for the finalists in the competition, and then continue to drive more and more investors and opportunities to those that remain, and actually to all those in this part of the format. So as I mentioned along the way, how do we kind of communicate? How do we work together? The Slack channel is open. So it's access to the organizers such as myself and Kingsley and some people from our team. We've got the coaches that are going to be coming into there very soon, and some advisors. The coaches, we've set up specific groups. Right now they're private and not visible, but each of the coaches will have a specific group, and then the different parties that will begin with them will be in there as well. You're going to be accessing Queen's platform, the portal, so you'll be able to have all of the content, learning, and then be able to submit the business model canvas and content through that channel. You have access to everything pretty much right there at your fingertips. And If these other methods or vehicles are not able to be utilized, we'll be sharing our email addresses and also just a general support email too for Leadogo that you can always reach out to. I've actually shared my email to a few people even yesterday with some of the questions and answers and things. So we're not shy. So please feel free to reach us an email or even LinkedIn, whatever the chosen platform is. So I'm going to turn this to some of the questions. I see some popped up in the box, and then I'll be able to answer a few of these here real quick. But we are incredibly excited to kind of move this forward and get started so that you can just really begin your learning journey and then be connected to some of the people that can help support you along the way. I know not only with the coaches, the advisors that you're going to meet, but the peers, your peers, all those around you in this program, you can learn so much from. And you never know whether one day they may be working with you, alongside you, along a specific journey. So have fun, enjoy it. It's going to be a heck of a ride. And we're very, very proud and very happy to be a part of those that are addressing poverty and that are helping to really change Ghana for the positive when it comes to youth unemployment. So thank you so much.